Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for connecting this morning. This is Kristen, and I want to welcome you to Connect with KB. So great to have you tuning in as we talk about business, education, leadership, and all the wonderful things that connect us to each other. My guest today is the CEO at the Detroit-based PR firm Franco. She has years of experience as a trusted advisor to her clients and her team, and her mission is to inspire values that are important for success in business and in life. I want to welcome to the podcast Tina Kozak. Tina, thanks so much for being with me.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you. I'm so excited to be with you.
Well, you know what? I'm excited to have you as a woman leader in the state of Michigan and someone that I admire greatly. I am so happy to have you on with me this morning, and I want to start with the Tina Kozak story.
All right. Well, I will give it to you, and I'll go all the way back. But born in Detroit, very working class, parents, neither one of them went to college, but have served as such inspirations for me all along. I've got one sister who's my best friend and constant inspiration. I stayed local, and I went to Wayne State. And after college, I had an internship and led me into the auto industry. And going into PR, I thought I would do something sexy like fashion or, retail. And I ended up in automotive, which made my dad, who was a mechanic, chuckle. And had this great opportunity. I spent 7 years with an auto supplier straight out of college, did their integrated marketing. I got to travel the world and just had such a great experience, sort of in all aspects of a little bit of investor relations, some advertising, PR, internal communication. Just got such great saturated experience. But then I really missed Detroit, and I found that I was seeing people outside of the state and even the country often more than I did at home. And so I looked to kind of get back into the city, and I joined Franco in 2007. There was an opportunity for me to run the automotive practice at Franco, and that really sparked this entrepreneurial sort of spirit that I think was always there for me. But going from a big global company to working in a smaller business just really sparked that kind of personal investment in me. And so I grew there. I had my kids since I've been at Franco and sort of got on the leadership trajectory. I was in the president role in 2014 and then appointed CEO last year in 2021. And really in the last 15 years have just had a lot of fun transforming what is a traditional and longstanding Michigan business into something that can continue to be relevant and progressive as sort of the world changes. So I've had a lot of fun with that. And then just on the personal side, I'm really passionate about mental health issues and women's issues. And I always tell everybody who starts at Franco that I think I've got a great job and I feel that it's really important. But my most important jobs are mom, wife, daughter, sister, and auntie. And those are probably my favorite jobs.
Amen. Amen to you. Absolutely. Our number one job. Let me ask you this, and I want to talk about the company in a second, but what's the difference between being president of the organization versus being the CEO?
In short, I would say the math,
okay.
which is from a communications background, never really been the area that I am strong in. But over the last several years, I've really worked alongside some consultants and our chairman and have really learned the business side. And I'm growing there. Just this week, I was looking at some very complicated spreadsheets, and I joked that this is the first time that I probably didn't go cross-eyed, and I really understand them and feel like I have a better command of just the whole business and the way that the business runs. So that's probably the biggest difference, is that accountability and the financial sustainability side.
Well, it's a real way for you to push yourself and to get out of, obviously get comfortable being uncomfortable. But, really for you to push yourself too and to continue to learn, because I know you know your business well. And I suspect that you, very much like me, are a lifelong learner. So you just want to continue that opportunity to understand a little bit better and have some personal and professional growth.
Yeah, don't ever want to get bored. And I feel like if an opportunity in front of me looks like something I've just done, I'm not excited about it. So I do want kind of always there to be some element of challenge in anything that I'm approaching, because I feel like that's how we grow.
What fun things are you working on right now at Franco?
So working on probably I have a couple little babies at Franco, and I've got an education client, and the last couple of years, education has been so tough with the pandemic and just virtual and all of the different sort of changes. So that's been very challenging in terms of making parents, making staff, helping them feel informed and, just kind of building trust between the school, the brand, and those families in a different way. And then the other sort of sweet spot is I work very closely with the Michigan Women Forward team, and that's really a sort of passion project for me because of their mission in empowering women and bringing economic opportunity, especially to women and entrepreneurs of color, and just celebrating Michigan women really is part of their mission. So those are the couple of things. And then running the business and seeing my team grow and seeing them kind of get excited about the opportunities in 2022. So those are the things that are keeping me busy right now.
Does the work that you do change at all regarding sectors and how strong sectors are at a given point in time? I mean, when you talk about automotive, I suspect that you're probably in healthcare a little bit too. What are some of the other sectors that you and your team work with?
Yeah, definitely auto, mobility, kind of that manufacturing B2B side is a strength. But then we also have a very strong nonprofit sector. And when I describe Franco and talk about it, everybody automatically thinks that means just our pro bono work, of which we do a lot. But we have a great, healthy nonprofit sector as well. And that's where we'll support just mission-driven organizations and support, brand and fundraising and delivering services that are so needed in the community. And then we have some healthcare, some energy, some education, and then consumer retail. So a little bit of everything.
What are some of the challenges that your clients are facing right now?
Well, I think everybody's facing just uncertainty in the last several years. So that's kind of the obvious one. And then talent. I'm sure you're hearing that from everybody.
Sure.
But where it's interesting and interesting sort of where you dig in on the connection, I think, and we feel this year at Franco, that this is the single biggest issue, the theme of connection and where connection has suffered in the last 2 years, and especially in our business of communication, those relationships are so important. So I really see connection, really rebuilding the community, rebuilding connection and trust with people as being the number one theme in 2022 across our clients and across my own business.
So tell me a little bit about that. Are you hearing from them that they are not as comfortable as they used to be doing that? They don't feel a need to do it, or they do want to do it, and it's really prohibiting them from growth? And what are the conversations? What are you talking about?
Well, I think the physical distance, between people in the last 2 years has been challenging. And I think businesses have looked at different ways, to continue delivering their services or, shipping their products with more physical distance between us. And I think culture, so many businesses define culture through those physical connections oftentimes, like what do we do in the office together? What's sort of the fabric of our, community and our culture? And I think we need to sort of relook at how do we have a healthy culture and how do we even define culture when the physical interactions are so much different than they used to be. I mean, our team's working hybrid, so sometimes we're in the office together, other times we aren't. Same at clients. Some clients haven't gone back at all. Others have never left. But I just think that that being vulnerable with each other, building the culture that goes beyond the parties and the physical interactions is going to be a challenge.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And everybody's trying to figure that out. And, how long do you continue to do a hybrid? Is that going to be successful? What are these new ways of having connection that it's going to go beyond Zoom?
Right.
Are people actually having phone calls and talking to each other? It's still doing this. I got to tell you, in all honesty, I'd get over Zoomed myself. And I'm just like,
Sure.
I just really just want to talk to you on the phone. And, it's going to be something that we have to continue to figure out. Your company's going to have to figure it out, and then you're going to have to figure it out for your clients.
Yes. And what we can't do on, what we notice, I think that we can't do on Zoom or, in these sort of abbreviated, highly efficient and productive meetings or work days is those moments between meetings. And I've been talking about the moments between meetings since, March of 2020 and, trying to bring those moments between meetings back despite our physical distance, where that's like where the magic happens, when you go through the agenda and everybody kind of puts their pens down and then you just reflect or you just talk and there's brainstorming and creativity and relationship building. And we've seen that really taper off and people get on their Zoom and it's kind of like business and let's get efficiently through this meeting. And then everybody clicks end and turns their chair and goes to the next Zoom call. So we're really being very intentional, both internally and with our clients, of like trying to create opportunities for those moments to still happen virtually.
Yeah, it's going to be ongoing. It isn't anything that's really easy to figure out. And, as you talk a little bit about your clients and you talk about, the work that you're doing to kind of guide them, and without giving all your trade secrets away, how do you prepare somebody for, crisis? And I mean, obviously we did not see COVID coming, but, are your clients now a little more on guard for having to pivot if they need to?
Yeah, I think businesses are a lot more nimble than they were a couple of years ago, because we've had to be. Right? You've heard every CEO and global HR officer talk about how if you would have had to put a plan together to move thousands of people to a virtual model, it would have taken 2 years, but it just happened overnight. So I do think there's more adaptability, but I think that companies that have done it better are those that have had a plan. So we do a lot of crisis work with clients, sometimes come in the middle of something where there's been no plan, roles aren't defined, kind of audiences haven't really been thought through, and we don't know, a business might not know exactly where their audiences are getting information about them. So just that planning is really important. Even going through like running drills and putting scenarios together. So if I had my way, I think businesses would all have some framework, crisis communications plan, at least to get you started. But the other thing I think that's really important in any crisis or tough time is remembering to put people first and empathy. And I think that, so if you're a business that's coming to me for crisis support, I'm going to be pushing on the, what about the employees? What about the people? Do we owe an apology? How can we be empathetic and authentic? Because I think a lot of times it's just kind of the rigor of, you got to get this out, and here's how we're going to fix it. But at the end of the day, I think the human first piece is really important in crisis.
Oh, I could not agree with you more. And we really need to get back to that. I want to change it up a little bit because I want to talk about Franco and your commitment to Detroit and investing in Detroit. I know that is near and dear to your heart.
It is. And I think, as the world has become so much smaller too, it's really beyond just Detroit, but the whole state. And we talk about community, and community is a core value at Franco, and we sort of shape that with family and team and community. And so how we do that is through our client work, just in helping, again, like with Michigan Women Forward, feeling like we're having a role in moving the economy forward and community development initiatives, and So through our client work, through our pro bono work, we do a lot of storytelling. And a couple of years ago, launched a campaign. It was Detroit Inspires Me, and really just went out and talked to people in the community about what it was that kind of gets them going, and what inspires creativity. And so we've done a lot of that sort of storytelling. Do a lot of volunteering when we can. That's shifted in the last several years. But we do a lot in the city and really in the state of Michigan to support economic development. And this year we'll focus more on students because, again, kind of talking about talent and pipelines and access and all of these students who have had such a removed experience in college in the last couple of years. So we're really turning our attention toward young professional students and sort of helping them really, dig in and understand business, not just the media industry or PR, but understanding business, working with the colleges, giving them opportunities, doing some mentoring. We'll kind of turn our attention there.
Okay, I love that idea. Matter of fact, we ought to have some of those young people come on with you on Connect with KB. I'd love to have a conversation with them at some point.
Yeah, I love that. I think that network is so important, and building confidence early on, and, self-promotion at the end of the day, with a high dose of humility, I believe, but those are great opportunities, and they shouldn't be reserved for, just CEOs.
Well, you're absolutely right. And, I just read not too long ago, too, and it's not really self-promotion. It's an opportunity for you to share your talents. And that's what we need. We need young people to feel a little more invested and to think. And I love that idea of not just marketing and media and PR, but really to understand business in general. Let's talk about the future of marketing. What does it look like?
Well, I think it's integrated. And I mean that in the sense that Franco has transitioned from, traditional public relations, and I still have to explain, to my mom what exactly that means, but it's connecting with the media and, helping businesses tell their stories, and that's a part of marketing, or it's a partner of marketing, but none of those things really stand on their own anymore, where a brand can do just one or do a couple. So we really think that the future is integrated. Obviously, there's digital and social media. Brands own their own space with their websites and their email marketing, and so we just kind of want all of those things to come together and feel that marketing is more powerful when they're working in sort of more of a holistic, integrated way. So integrated is one word I would use to describe the future. And then I think we're there, but continuing to develop authenticity in marketing. I feel like brands are under such a microscope, and in some ways that is tricky for brands and organizations, because one bad decision, one wrong move can really incite this attack on your business or even personally. But in a lot of ways, that microscope, I think, has resulted in more authentic brands because they can't really hide behind kind of this one-way corporate advertising, traditional PR. There's always a dialogue with your customer now, and it's more complex, but I think the result is more authenticity between brands and their customers. So I really think we'll continue to see that.
Do you, I like that. I really do. And I do think that we are seeing so much more authenticity with people, and this is really who we are. And they're kind of trying to get back to the basics of having core values and living by those. And it sounds exactly what you're doing at Franco.
Yes, I think that's the only thing that we can do and that we can control. Right? We've learned that just these last couple of years too. Is when everything else is outside of our control, we can control who we are and sticking to our values despite the consequences, whether it's a person or a brand. We talk about courageous truth at Franco. That's one of our core values and one of my favorites. And, it's more than just courage. It's more than just challenging, but it is just like digging in and sort of following your conviction despite the consequences. And, that might mean we lose a client or we upset the apple cart somewhere. But if we feel like it's coming from that values-driven, purpose-driven place, and we know it's the right thing, we really empower, each other to practice that. And so I think that, goes hand in hand with this authenticity.
Well, you've kind of answered the question. My last one was going to be, what advice would you give young professionals wanting to go into PR? And it sounds like you kind of said that, but I'm going to let you just expand on it a little bit.
Yeah, I think just knowing who you are and surrounding yourself with, a network. I think, at the end of the day, we know our networks are so important, and our networks are a reflection of who we are and what we aspire to be, and, giving as much as we take to our networks or more. But I do think that high degree of courage and empathy, combined with all of the technical things that you learn in school and practice, early in your career, are equal importance.
What's the best thing about being the CEO at Franco?
I think just getting to sort of experience secondhand all of the wonderful work that our teams are doing and our clients are doing. When I was focused on automotive only, it was very exciting and rewarding, and that was the industry I came from, and I knew it well. But I love the mix of our clients. I talked about, the nonprofits and the work that they're doing in the community. So even if I'm not dug in on an account or, a meeting, I sort of get that halo effect. And every day I open up my news feed and I see something that someone on our team has helped put together, and just really warms my heart. And I feel this sense of pride, and so that's probably my favorite part.
Well, Tina, I can tell that you like to lift up your team, that is a role of a leader, to take the experience that you've had and make sure that young people are having an opportunity and growing and maybe potentially becoming that next Tina Kozak CEO at Franco. And it's something that I've always admired about you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I think any one of them could be and should be. They're all just so smart and talented, and I say it all the time. You guys are going to be my boss pretty soon.
Oh, I love it. That is great. Tina, come back and visit with me again, all right?
I will. Thank you so much.
You bet. My guest today, Tina Kozak, the CEO at Franco in Detroit. I also want to thank my supporting sponsors, Marketing Resource Group, Dowding Industries, Governmental Consultant Services, AF Group, AT&T, the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, Mercantile Bank, and the Fraser Law Firm. You can listen to all my podcasts at connectwithkb.com. Until we connect again, go live your best life. I'm your host, Kristen Belzer.